Hello, welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. I can't believe it's July and Aaron Rodgers is still in the NFC North Perna. Aaron Rodgers is the Delta variant of NFL QBs. But will his presence keep the Packers atop the North as the team with the highest ranking of power? Trying to figure out the NFC North is like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube. I'm sure some people know how to do it, but I've never met anyone in real life who could. We don't even know if the best player in the division will show up. So there's lots to digest from this offseason, the draft, a rookie QB coming into the mix, Stafford out. Let's figure this shit out. NFC North, That's Good Sports. You know what to do? No? Neither do I. Today's episode is sponsored by buyraycon.com/thatsgood, which will save you 15% when you use my link in the description. Summer has arrived, which means two of my favorite activities are back: lathering my body in sunscreen and power walking with my Raycon earbuds in. My aggressive power walking style not only makes my neighbors nervous, it causes a lot of head bobbling and weaving. But with Raycon's noise isolating fit, my earbuds stay snug and fit comfortably in place while I listen to the world's longest audiobooks. The wireless earbuds have up to 6 hours of playtime and come in a variety of colors to match all of your summer tank tops. Raycon has a 45-day free return policy, which is half of the dang summer for you to test them out. 45 days of power walking with Raycons in will have you down at least one dress size. So click my link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/thatsgood to get 15% off Raycon earbuds, which are already half the price of other premium earhole speakers. Now let me preface this ranking of power that I really think the Bears, the Vikings, and the Lions are tied. All tied in a quagmire of mediocrity. So don't get too upset, Chicago, because you're number 4. Yes, the Bears made the playoffs at 8-8 because the rest of the NFC was that bad. Sure, the Lions had 142 negative net points, but Chicago is the only team starting a rookie quarterback in 2021. I don't trust rookies. Now the Bears moved up from 20-11 to get Justin Fields, and this may have been the most significant move in team history, at least since trading 2 first-rounders for Jay Cutler back in 2009. Now, Justin Fields could easily become the best quarterback the Bears have ever seen. And that's not saying much. Becoming the greatest Bears quarterback is like bragging that you have the biggest dick in a room full of puppies. But he could change this team's fortunes. I believe that. Now, I'm not sure that happens this year in year 1. Fields is coming from Ohio State, where his teammates are almost always more talented than their opponents, to a team that still needs a lot of work on offense. They did tag Allen Robinson, their wide receiver, but who's their number 2 ball catcher? Darnell Mooney? I think that might be a little suspect. Anthony Miller has been pretty consistent since arriving in Chicago, but feels more like a number 3 guy. Nothing will help these Chicago receivers more, though, than consistent and solid quarterback play. Is Justin Fields that guy? We don't know yet. I know the Bears think so. If you go to chicagobears.com and scroll through the photo carousel of the Bears' 2021 draft picks, you will soon realize you have to scroll through 35 photos of Justin Fields before landing on Tevin Jenkins. There's 136 photos in that carousel. Who the fuck looks through that many photos? I did, however, love their move to grab Tevin Jenkins and get a mauler to protect their quarterback. It's incredible that a guy who looks like this can do something like this.
He don't give a damn. He don't give a damn. He's going to take you out. He's going to humiliate you, and he's going to tell you all about it. I love Tevin Jenkins.
I have to acknowledge them selecting 2 players from my best named players episode. Larry Borom, the world's most boring element. Move over, Phosphorus, you uninspiring bastard. They also selected receiver Daz Newsome out of North Carolina. Now here's why I'm concerned for Chicago in 2021. Justin Fields has a huge learning curve coming his way. They lost their best corner in Kyle Fuller to the Broncos. So outside of the superbly talented Eddie Jackson, I don't trust their secondary. I mean, linebacker Roquan Smith had the highest coverage grade on the team, which is great if your back end is covering well. Ultimately, I like where the Bears are headed and the fact that they made a bold move to get their quarterback of the future. For the sake of my own sanity, I'm rooting for Justin Fields. But not really, because then the Broncos look really stupid. And yeah, I put the Bears on the bottom to troll Adam Rank. Coming in at number 3, I'm gonna go with the Detroit Lions. Surprise, surprise, I have the Detroit Lions here, taking a hunk out of the Bears. Now, I love Dan Campbell. I love everything about him. He's the coaching equivalent of a shot of espresso and a swift kick to the testicles. I'm just picturing him next to Jim Caldwell, who looked like he was sleeping with his eyes open, or even Matt Patricia. Dan Campbell is probably disgusted by the sight of Matt Patricia and his lack of respect for physical fitness. An alpha bites a kneecap. He doesn't eat the whole thing and then ask for more fucking butt fat as a side dish. Now, the Lions lost Matthew Stafford in a trade for Jared Goff. We know all about that. They also lost Kenny Golladay, my favorite receiver in Detroit, and Marvin Jones, my other favorite receiver in Detroit, and Jamal Agnew, my underrated receiver in Detroit. They even lost kicker Matt Prater, but I believe they gained a superior culture and a definitive identity. And that identity is embodied by their head coach and a lot of the new players, Alex Anelzone, Quentin Dunbar, Jamal Williams, and the most seasoned vegetable in the NFL, Corn Elder. Unfortunately, the Lions don't play the Texans, otherwise we would have seen Corn Elder covering Randall Cobb. That's corn on the cob. Now, the Lions are essentially the Texans of the North, signing a ridiculous amount of free agents to one-year deals. The difference, in my opinion, is that I think a lot of those players on one-year deals might actually want to stick around after this season. So let's take a look at the draft, one that was praised by most analysts. Penei Sewell was the perfect first pick for this regime and could end up being the best overall player in this draft. Another player I think fits that tough mold is Levi Onwuzurike at defensive tackle, and Amon-Ra St. Brown is a physical presence at wide receiver. Just like wide receiver Antonio Brown was a presence at his physical. You thought I forgot about that farting clip, didn't you? Furthermore, you have some talented guys ready to make the leap. Corner Jeff Okudah should take a step forward after a tough injury-filled rookie year. John Penisini was a welcome addition from last year's draft. I think he's an even bigger impact year 2. Unlike Peneas, John literally has penis in his last name. But if you think it's an accident, Dan Campbell has 2 peni on his roster whose primary job is penetration, you ain't paying attention. Running back DeAndre Swift will get more carries in year 2. Tight end TJ Hawkinson looks ready to channel the spirit of Dan Campbell himself. Pair those developing players with vets like Michael Brockers, Trey Flowers, and of course, Randy Bullock, and I think this is a team that's much better than people think. I love how much the Lions invested in their offensive line. God knows Jared Goff needs at least 8 seconds to read a defense. And even though Goff is a downgrade from Stafford, I think the offense will produce by committing to the run. I also believe the defense makes a huge improvement and becomes average. They were the only defense in 2020 to be top 5 worst in rushing yards and passing yards allowed, giving up a league-high 38 touchdown passes, second fewest interceptions at just 7. They couldn't stop the run, the pass, and yes, they had the 5th lowest hurry percentage. Look up a key defensive stat, and the Lions were probably tops of the worst. An average defense this season will look like Dan Campbell is at Jesus' level of miracle working. So that leaves the Minnesota Vikings at number 2. The Vikings look to me like a team that might be on the verge of collapse. Their defense was bad enough to allow 6 Alvin Kamara touchdowns last year. What an excellent Christmas gift to their fans. And this team clearly does not believe in their quarterback Kirk Cousins. Probably just as much as Kirk Cousins doesn't believe in COVID. If you don't believe that, then why did the Vikings spend the 66th overall pick on another QB, Kellen Mond? Why were they linked to the number 8 spot, where they would have taken Justin Fields? Why did they tell Kirk Cousins that they were actively trying to find his replacement on draft day? I don't know if it's right or wrong that the Vikings want to get rid of a guy who threw 35 touchdowns and 4,200 yards on 8.3 yards per attempt. Those are really good numbers that I would give my left and fuck it, my right nut for here in Denver. I have a baby, so I don't need testicles anymore anyway. So maybe my perception is just warped. But it's also true that this team went 7-9 last year, and when the quarterback is making $66 million over 2 years, then he's going to be put under the microscope, regardless of what his numbers look like, and regardless of whether or not he believes that microscopes actually exist. Now, if they do turn to Kellen Mond, he'll be stepping into a situation with plenty of resources on offense, especially after they took tackle Christian Darrisaw in the first round, which should give him plenty of time to find Adam Thielen and breakout rookie wide receiver Justin Jefferson, or hand it off to Dalvin Cook, which might just be their best play in the new Clint Kubiak offense. One subtle, symbolic move I did not like was the loss of Kyle Rudolph, who had been in Minnesota for 10 seasons. He always seemed like the quintessential Viking to me. Maybe that was just all of his tattoos though, or that he was one unkempt beard away from looking just like Ragnar Lothbrok. They also lost Riley Reiff, as well as Harrison Smith's running mate at safety, Anthony Harris, who joined the Eagles in free agency. They did, however, gain a veteran in the secondary when they signed corner Patrick Peterson, who I think is the only old guy that preferred a colder climate over Arizona. Look, in 2019, Minnesota was a playoff team that upset the Saints in the playoffs. Again. Then they let all of their corners go, including Mackenzie Alexander, who then they re-signed this offseason after he spent 1 year with the Bengals. They didn't have Danielle Hunter up front, experimented like a college student with Yannick Ngakoue, and overall just played shit defense. Not as bad as the Lions, but bottom 10 in yards allowed on the ground and through the air, which was also bottom 10 in rushing and passing touchdowns allowed. So that's how you look like a bad team when your quarterback posts a passer rating above 100 on the season. Something literally only the Lions can relate to. One thing to root for with this team is the recovery of rookie defensive tackle Jalen Twyman, who managed to survive getting shot 4 times while visiting his aunt back in June. Twyman was a 6th round pick, but if you know anything about defensive tackles from the University of Pittsburgh, he was probably worth a flyer. Another under the radar rookie I liked was 4th round pick Cameron Bynum, cornerback from Cal, who I think can replace Mike Hughes, who was traded to KC, and can probably end up being better in the long run. Now, Bynum was a 4-year starter and a 2-time captain with the Golden Bears and has good size at the position. Ultimately, however, I'm not sold on the Vikings in 2021, and I say that believing that when Thielen, Jefferson, and Cook are all clicking with Cousins, that offense can be special at times. And the defense should be better, but they're the Vikings, so who the fuck knows? We've got the Green Bay Packers atop the division at number 1. Now, the Green Bay Packers are the biggest variable in the NFL right now. Their outlook for 2021 ranges from potential Super Bowl champion to a full-blown tank. And I think we all know what that variable is. Whether or not they turn to Blake Bortles. The Packers had a modest offseason. their biggest move was bringing back Aaron Jones after letting Jamal Williams leave for Detroit. Of course, the only thing that matters was, did they do enough to make Aaron Rodgers happy? And the answer seems to be a very resounding no. No, they did not. They did spend one draft pick on a wide receiver, the aptly named Amari Rodgers out of Clemson, but who knows if he'll make a difference in year one. I would have either traded up for a receiver like Rashad Bateman, or taken someone at the end of the first like Elijah Moore or Terrace Marshall, but it's hard to blame them for drafting cornerback Eric Stokes when you remember how Kevin King played more like Kevin James from King of Queens in the NFC Championship game. If I were the Packers GM, I would be trying to win right the fuck now. I would be aggressive. And don't give me any salary cap bullshit. The Chiefs gave Mahomes, Kelsey Hill, Chris Jones, and Uzi in my Lambo top dollar without any cap space, alright? You should have been in on Julio Jones, or even maybe Jonnu Smith or Hunter Henry to pair with Big Bob Tunyon, or some of the good free agent corners like William Jackson, Ronald Darby, or hell, Richard Sherman, for fuck's sake, who is still available. I did like a couple late round picks that the Packers made. Anytime you can take a Wisconsin offensive lineman, you should probably do that. And the Packers took a shot on one with Cole Van Lanen in the 6th round. Including Van Lanen, the Packers took 3 offensive linemen overall. So I like what they're doing there to have depth and to make sure that unit has plenty of reinforcements, because they got decimated by injuries by the time they had to play the Rams and the Bucks in the playoffs. Anything to keep Aaron Rodgers upright is a good thing, especially during the offseason when you have to support the weight of his ego. So let's go with this scenario. As much as it pains me, Aaron Rodgers plays for Green Bay this year. What's changed? What gets them over the hump and past the Buccaneers? Both teams are more or less the same as they were a year ago, and that doesn't bode well for the Packers. It does for the Bucks. I also have a sneaking suspicion that if they meet in the playoffs again, they're playing in Tampa. I like the Rodgers-led Packers to win the NFC North, but I don't see them conquering the NFC as a whole. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports NFC North recap. We've done the NFC South, the NFC West, all the AFC teams. We'll get to the dreaded NFC East. You can click those videos on the screen. There's a playlist here if you want to watch through all of them. Everyone filled with gold and turds.